Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, and I am here today with my usual partner in crime here, the getaway driver, that is usually one Mr. Brian E. Roach, and we're here to discuss the Pittsburgh Steelers climbing to 4-0 on the season with a victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. But before I get to that, I have to ask you, Brian, all considering, how you doing? I know the game wasn't as smooth as maybe we had hoped in some spots, but you seem to be doing all right.
I'm doing all right. You know, it was an adventurous day for me, my friend. I went and climbed Mount Washington in New Hampshire yesterday. That's, some 5,000-foot mountain. The winds were swirling and churning at, 100-something miles an hour at the top of the mountain. It was fun. I did that, and then, we drove home today, and we tried to get to Connecticut. I had told everybody I was going to this place called Eli's on Whitney to watch the game, and we tried to get there before the game started. Didn't make it, so I had to watch the beginning of it on my phone in the car while I was driving. That did not make for a good The early part of the game was annoying to a certain extent. Well, many aspects of the game became annoying, but we did get to Eli's on Whitney, and I got to enjoy the second half of the game with those fine and friendly folk there, and there were quite a few Steelers fans there, so I guess it really is kind of a Steelers bar, as well as some nice jumbo-sized boneless buffalo wings that were very
that's
tasty.
Always good. That's always good. I had mentioned I went to Myrtle Beach this summer. I finally got back to Oscars when I was down there, so when we get to travel around, and I know Terry hasn't been doing as much traveling as usual. Terry Fletcher, who does the WTF segment in the middle of the week. And we'll have to get Terry on video sometime. She'll probably be like, no, I'm not doing that. That was a stretch for me, man. And you know what? People are going to start roasting me for whatever I end up wearing here. Yeah, I'm accessorized. You've got the Mapletron helmet like hiding there. You got the jersey. Mine's coming. Mine's on order. So you're ahead of the game, my friend, and you know what? I played him in fantasy almost out of necessity. My fantasy team is just a mess. I have had players injured, Michael Thomas, Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon out because they postponed and they're shaking and moving all these games around, and it's you know what? I don't like to necessarily take the joy in seeing other teams and all these schedules and stuff get shifted around, but this one, no, because I don't know, what was it, like 8 games are affected or something like that?
Crazy.
It's just an absolute mess, and you got to hope that the Bills and Titans are actually going to end up on the field Tuesday, and then maybe the Bills don't end up getting infected or something, and then it gets even worse from there. But you and I getting on the horn just a little bit later due to your travel. And by the way, I was mentioning because this isn't D'Angelo Williams, by the way, this is Terrell Edmonds. And I'm still sporting
nice.
I usually get the rookie jerseys, the top pick every year. I've done it since TJ. So, Edmonds, I thought he had a fine game, and we'll get to that. But I do have to mention, since you missed it, we missed this on the last episode, the Carhartt hat, my friend. You got the other one going here, the one that I didn't wear. I had the mesh back. He's styling the adjustable back one. You look like one of Barker's beauties. He's like doing this. And on the next Showcase Showdown. So, anyways, the Steelers, we made fun of this, and I think I was talking to Ryan about this, and I said, it wouldn't have surprised me if they got down like 10-0 in this game, but that's not exactly how it ended up turning out. The Steelers did not relinquish a lead in this entire game, which is what you expect good teams to do, and good teams win games. And they pulled this one out. And I know it seemed like if they didn't have one guy named Chase Claypool on this roster, maybe they wouldn't have. I think they still find a way. Unfortunately, we got some injuries to talk about, too, and see if guys are banged up and things of that nature. But I guess, the elephant in the room here is Chase Claypool's monster game. And I was talking about, a lot of people be like, really, you were going to play him in fantasy? Well, I play in a 14-team league that has 3 wide receivers and a flex position, in addition to 2 running backs and a tight end on top of that. So it's a very deep league, and you have to throw darts at guys that you believe can actually do something, they have a ceiling. It's almost like playing DraftKings, you know what I mean? So I was very happy. Every time the first time he went in, I was like, that's gravy. That's just what I need is a touchdown because I'm in the basement here because of those aforementioned injuries. And not to, bemoan my fantasy team, I'm actually putting, Chase up here on a pedestal because he had one heck of a game, 7 catches, 110 yards, 3 touchdowns receiving. And he also had the 3 carries for 6 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And probably should have had a 5th touchdown in. Yeah. How soon do we want to get to this stuff? Let's go with the first quarter. Let's go with the first quarter.
I don't want to start with it. People are complaining that I complain about them too much.
Well, wait. Let me rewind. Okay, so this game's on Fox. You probably missed Terry Bradshaw had an interview.
I missed the interview
with Ben. Now, hopefully, there's a replay out there for someone to see. Terry, and he talked about this, and it was a Zoom thing, and it was done very well, a lot better than what we're doing here. But we're working on it. We're getting there. Baby steps. So Terry's at his desk, and he's got all these terrible towels out, and I'm like, okay. This guy has a love-hate relationship with Steelers Nation, as we all know. And he's interviewing Ben with the Zoom meeting, and Ben's probably in some office at the practice facility or whatnot. And what ends up happening here is he mentions how Terry mentions how he had a similar injury and that almost ended his career. What were you thinking with Ben and this and that? Following it is what the real gem is. Terry was very teary-eyed about this. He mentioned he didn't always have the greatest relationship, at least most recently, with Ben Roethlisberger, with Mike Tomlin, with the Pittsburgh Steelers and their fans and everything like that. And it felt good to do all of this and get back to his roots. And I just wanted to be like this. And it's like, hey, when you're part of Steelers Nation, we don't forget you. We don't turn your back on. James Harrison's been back in the fold for a little bit already. I'm sure Antonio Brown will be there someday whenever he decides his head's like the swelling goes down. And, so it was a very cool thing to see with Terry Bradshaw. So I had to bring that up as part of the pregame thing. But also, one of the other things that was in that first hour leading up, and this also came out from, I think Jerry Dulac wrote in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as well, talked about lack of penalties through these first 4 weeks. And I'm thinking to myself, Brian, I know we talked about it, and we mentioned how there was a lack of it feels good to be vindicated, is what I'm saying, because I don't want to just come off as that guy that's always going to complain about the officiating, but we're not the only ones who've noticed it now, and it kind of gives us a little more carte blanche in talking about it, because it's been bad. And it's been bad for other teams, but today it was also bad, and we'll talk about that as we get into certain segments of this game, but I just wanted to throw out, because I had a feeling when you said you were commuting and whatnot and getting to your destination, you did not catch all of this stuff that was going on. I usually don't even watch these pre-games, and I was home gating today. I didn't make it down to the game, unfortunately. Only 5,500 tickets, and the guy I share a season with opted out. You opted out. It's still no guarantee we would have got tickets anyways if we were opted in. So Everybody trying to make a quick buck and pay for their Christmas gifts for the family right now. And I do sympathize with this. The guys, because you have to have a legal license to scalp tickets in the state of Pennsylvania. These guys have lost their ass, basically. The whole year, there's been no events or anything for these guys. This is what they make their living on. So I could sympathize with that. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not flush. So I know gots. Anyways, getting to this game, and they mentioned the fans, and there was a different energy on the field, and this, that, and the other thing. Let's start off with, once again, Steelers win the coin toss, elect to defer. My favorite thing ever of all time. Eagles, 3 and out. Steelers get the ball. Longest drought, 27, 21, whatever the 22. Number was. 22. It's too many. It's like a season and a half's worth of games where they have not scored on a touchdown on their opening drive. And there's only one other team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, that are even in double digits in the entire league out of the other 32. No one else is in double digits in the Steelers offense. You want to talk about traditionally slow. And we understand all the things with the quarterbacks last year, Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, things like that, things of that nature. That is definitely a part of it, absolutely. So they don't get there either. The first pass of the game goes to Ray McLeod, which we'll have something to say about big play Ray again later on here. Anthony McFarland gets a carry for the second play, and it's like, these aren't exactly the big guns you're bringing out here. Are we playing down to the Philadelphia Eagles team that's, we mentioned, and we forgot to mention Javon Hargrave in the pregame, but obviously, and then Sweat, who was there too, but we did mention Fletcher Cox. We mentioned that their pass rush was formidable. We mentioned how Jim Schwartz, they talked about Alpha Bravo. I've known that since they won that Super Bowl. They've always made sure they have starter-capable guys up front and rotate them in and out, which is what the Steelers kind of started to emulate when Hargrave was here and Tyson Alualu and when they only run those two-man fronts. So I kind of expected some of this. Whatever the heck happened at third play here, there was a timeout right after this on first down. And Ben's kind of looking like, what the heck's going on? He did this with his helmet. I really don't know. So you're like, okay, you're burning a timeout. They did throw the pass to Ebron, and it's like, okay, cool. But what the heck, man? This isn't what we want to see. And they lose. So Ben gets sacked, split sack by Fletcher Cox and Gravedigger there. And then Deontay Johnson gets whacked for losing 2 yards, and they punt. And it's just like, geez. So you took a timeout to run James Conner for a yard, get sacked, and then lose 2 yards on a little dinky pass to try and, I don't know what you're trying to do. You're in the middle of the field here. So Eagles offense goes another 3 and out here. Deontay Johnson gets hurt again. Unfortunately, we don't see him again for the rest of the game. We saw some good pressure from the beginning, but they weren't quite getting to Carson Wentz right away. Steelers finally put together this monstrous 14-play, 62-yard drive. There was a couple of penalties in here. You had the first holding call against the Steelers' offense or offensive lineman. Chukwuekorafo gets one on 1st and 10. It goes 1st and 20. And then there's a pass interference call with James Washington that gets the ball all the way down to the 7. This one was called on Darius Slay. I thought we got a gift on that one. I'm not sure if you saw that clearly or saw a replay. Okay. I thought we got a gift.
Yes, it was a gift. It was. I would have said that was the worst call of the game, but then it wasn't by the end of the game. But it was it was a bad PI call. It was not. That was, you get to the point where this is what I'm starting to believe. Holding is now legal, and being anywhere near a receiver in the backfield is illegal.
Well, I made a comment. I sent it on Twitter. I think it's in the second quarter, and if I could find the clip when I rewatch this game, I'm going to send it out to everyone that's out there. TJ Watt is in a full he goes to do like a spin move, so somebody's already got him like up around the arm, and then their other arm comes in. It's like a full Nelson wrestling hold at some point in this first half. I want to say it was in the second quarter. It was disgusting. And there's some more disgusting stuff because the Miles Sanders run had at least 2 holds. At least. It was just, let's ignore everything that's going on. There was you had an unnecessary roughness call against Malik Jackson, and then they put all the big boys in, and then Benny Snell. It's like, let's give Benny Snell, the guy who's had ball security issues, let's give him the ball on the goal line, and he loses a yard. I'm like, what is going on? Are we, like, attempting to lose this game? I get it's 14 plays. Guys get gashed. You got to have substitutions. It's not John Madden football here. But you get Chase Claypool runs this in. I was giddy as a little schoolgirl, and the Steelers are up 7-0. And then 3 plays later, Miles Sanders goes for 74 yards and a touchdown. You're like, what the heck is going on here? I saw, and this is appropriate because didn't mean to bang my mic. I'm sorry. This is the guy's jersey that was held was Terrell Edmonds. Up here, like right in front, you could see it like this on the replay. And I mean, he was already down the field. There were some other guys there that were getting held on that play as well. I wanted to say, was it Steven Nelson maybe? Yeah, that would have been his side, on the right side of the field. So I believe it was Steven Nelson right there off the edge to begin with. And it's just like, man, this is just bogus. They just just phone it in right now. The league doesn't want to see Philadelphia go down another game there. They need them to win the NFC East. The Steelers end up responding. You get a nice 7-play, 75-yard drive. It is capped off. You had a nice pass to Claypool in here. You had James Conner coming up the middle for 25 yards. Anthony McFarland gets in a little bit on the action. And now it's the touchdown pass to Chase Claypool. That was just a dime as well. It's the first of 4. So there's a lot of Chase Claypool to talk about here. But at this point, the Steelers are up 14-7. It goes back and forth here once again. This is the other one I had a problem with, Brian. Vince Williams roughing the passer.
Well, see, it's like, okay, you start off with the pass interference call, and you go, oh, wow, that's a really bad call. They probably won't make as bad a call as that. At least it went in our favor. And then they make that call. And look, did he come down with his weight on the quarterback? Maybe, I guess. But I'm sorry, it's called a tackle. And, it just,
It wasn't even late. It wasn't late.
No, it wasn't late. It wasn't remotely late. It was a well-timed hit, and they just stink. They stink.
Yes. So this is another one now. He completed the pass anyways. It would have been a first down. Carson Wentz to Travis Fulgham, who the Steelers couldn't cover to save their life. Who the
hell is that guy?
So let me tell you this. So Michael Thomas got ruled out, and I was looking for a player, and I was looking earlier in the day, and I should have been a little more prudent in how I set up my roster for fantasy. And he was one of the names that was suggested for this week because, as we mentioned, everybody was out. They still don't have Jalen Reagor. They still haven't had Alshon Jeffrey back. They still Deshaun Jackson was out for a second straight week. So we're like, yeah, who are these guys? 13 targets. He caught 10 balls, 152 yards for a TD. And a TD, I should say, with a 31-yard long there. And pretty much no one else did anything. I mean, Greg Ward had the one TD catch, so you got that. Miles Sanders had a total of 80 yards, and all but 6 of those
were on one run. Yeah,
were on run. He had 10 other runs for 6 yards, and he did have another one where they were already on the doorstep and got in for a TD. So he had 2 touchdowns, and he did well for everyone's fantasy scoring and reality scoring here too. If you were taking the over on this game, or it was probably driving you crazy. It was driving our Eric Herman here crazy because he had the spread, giving 7 to the Eagles. And when they went for 2, that was kind of messy there for anyone who plays with the bookies there. But the Steelers, they put together another drive here. It starts out with Ray McLeod legitimately getting interfered with by Darius Slay. He gets everything pulled at here. First, I think he gets tugged on top of the shoulders. And then around the waist, around the back end of his jersey, Slay was trying to slow him down, rightfully so. It makes you wonder how they find these guys. Not like Claypool. Now, everybody's justified. We want a JK all day, and we have to pull this out here in this segment right now because when we were back in the draft, everybody was upset about Chase Claypool. They got enough wide receivers, yada, yada. Now everybody's, they got their nose in his rear end, and everybody's backpedaling. Their calves are about this big from now saying, wow, Kevin Colbert's a genius. And we're like, yeah, okay, we knew that already. So, but Ray McLeod is a guy that nobody wanted either, just like this Travis Fulgham. And these guys were all having a day at certain points. But this was actually a legitimate penalty. And you're like, okay, well, we got one in our favor. This is good. And the Steelers, they didn't even kill a few of these offsides with the defense either, which has been the thing they've been doing. They've been doing that.
That's actually a point I want to. They're inconsistent with that. Yeah. Again, all you want is consistency out of these bozos, and I'm going to stop calling them refs. I'm just going to call them bozos and idiots and morons from now on because they're that bad and they've annoyed me that much. But anyway, all I want is for Bozos the Clown to become consistent in their clowniness. So, if you're going to say, okay, let the play run, let it run. If you're going to say, no, we can't let him run because the quarterbacks might get hurt, then don't let it run. Personally, I would like them to be let run because I like having the free play because sometimes exciting things happen on those free plays. But if they're not going to, then don't do it. Don't sometimes do it, and then sometimes don't.
Did you see the pass that Ben threw? It was like because guys stopped.
Yeah,
they because of the inconsistency, and you hit the nail on the head. That's what I was trying to bring up there, and it's just mind blowing here. So let me see here. Kevin Dotson, illegal man downfield. He hurt like a nice little play to Juju, who had a pretty modest, quiet day here. 4 catches, 28 yards. Somewhat pedestrian. I don't know if he just wasn't open or what, or if there were, these plays were really drawn up for Eric Ebron or Chase Claypool because of mismatches. That kind of thing happens too, but it seemed like Claypool was being consistently guarded. I think Slay doesn't stay man, which is what Jonathan Vilma, who was the color guy, for some people were saying, hey, he was a little biased. I thought he was one of the more fair guys that I've heard in a while. Doing the color commentary on some of these games. So, but he made mention of that. That they have Darius Slay over here. I think he just stays on that side of the field, just like Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson stay on their side too. I don't think he roams around. Otherwise, he probably would have been covering Juju most of the day. But that's the other thing. Chase Claypool wasn't doing this against some second-rate guy for the most part. They picked on the rookie when he came in, and we'll get to that later. So let me see. Chris Boswell field goal because, let me see, Steelers don't get much here. Second down. It was 2nd and 5. They had a 12-yard gain, but an ineligible man downfield brought that back for you now had 2nd and 10. Anthony McFarland left end for no gain. And then a short little dump-off pass to James Conner only got 6 yards. So Boswell gets a 41-yard field goal. It's 17-14 Steelers still here in the second quarter. Then we have, let's see, Eagles run out of time before the end of the half. No, they didn't have enough timeouts and kind of boneheaded clock management, boneheaded by the players and or the coaches here because they burn the timeout. And then you throw it, and this Arcega Whiteside doesn't get out of bounds or anything like that. He's nowhere near the boundary, and I'm just looking at the clock. I'm like, yay, all right, I'll go in the halftime up 3 points and getting the ball to start the second half. And that's where we see Ben strike again. This was the Ray McLeod, almost like a punt return here. The end round for 58 yards.
Yep.
Almost got in. He got down all the way down to the 5-yard line. Ben tried to find Chase Claypool here, didn't, and then went right back to him anyways. And a nice little 5-yard touchdown, 24-14. You're feeling a little bit better about this game. And now the Steelers are going to bring it. And you've got Carson Wentz getting picked off by Steven Nelson on a pretty poor pass. We said if you put pressure on him, he was going to end up kind of folding there. Steelers end up, they burn a timeout again on one of these drives, and I'm not sure exactly what happened here. It was right after a James Conner run. And then you had another pass interference call. Let me see. This was again for James Washington. This might have been one of the other ones that was like kind of ticky. No, I think I was looking for this one, but it might have been late. This is the thing that always drives me crazy. You got guys that referees are looking at the play, and then all of a sudden it comes in from some other direction from the guy who probably had the worst angle of it too.
Yeah.
So the hanky comes in, you get a pass interference call there. James Conner up the middle, tries it twice. Second time he punches it in, gets a touchdown. Now you're up 31-14, which is very, very nice, and it's looking very good as soon as you get back to the Eagles having the ball. Mike Hilton strikes. Here's a guy that needs to stay in the building, Brian. Mike Hilton is just unbelievable, too. In spots.
You saw the good and the bad of Mike Hilton in this game.
Yeah.
You saw the blitzing ability, which was fantastic. Boom, he does his job. And in the next play later, you saw the liability where he gets roasted by that Al Fuego, whatever the hell that guy's name is. Mulgum, number 13.
Travis Fulgham.
Yeah,
Yes.
that guy, number 13. And Hilton had problems with him, and that's the one knock on Mike Hilton. His coverage is not necessarily his strength. I agree he needs to stay in the building because they can make up for that stuff. And what he brings to the blitz is kind of pretty special. But yeah, you saw kind of on back-to-back plays, if I'm not mistaken, you saw the good and you saw the not so good.
Yeah, there was a Miles Sanders run here in the middle between that, and it was a 31-yard play. And then there was the Joe Hayden pass interference call where I'm going to fight a little bit.
Felt like the makeup call from the first one, right? I mean, it was weak. Yeah, he kind of ran the route for the guy, but at the same time, that's because he wasn't running it right. And it's, you're allowed to go where you think you're going to go. I don't think he truly impeded the guy or interfered with him. I thought that was a weak call as well. But to me, that was the call. It was like, well, we gave you one. Now we're going to take one away.
And it's always against Joe Hayden. And Joe Hayden in coverage, they're guys are crisscrossing and passing people off, and they stretch this here. And I know there's some things that were said about, the Steelers secondary today and things of that nature, and who are some of these guys. And, I'm not thinking too much into this. Stuff happens. You also saw what happened, too, where they were only, rushing 3. That's the thing that only drives me crazy, but then they're, in zones. I mean, Zach Ertz here, there was legitimate weapons that they were trying to negate in this game. Zach Ertz had 6 balls thrown in his direction. He only caught 1 for 6 yards the entire game. I mean, they shut him down. They shut down Miles Sanders aside from the one big play. Okay, he squeaked in for whatever it was, a 2-yard touchdown or whatever. That stuff, what are you going to do against?
Yeah.
That happens. These are pro football players. And, but they end up coming back down. This pass interference call just absolutely killed him. It probably would have been 3rd and 6 at the Steelers' 42, maybe a better chance to get off the field there. And then instead, this ball goes all the way down to the 16-yard line. They get Wentz has a little dump off to Miles Sanders for 11 yards, and they're on the 5-yard line, and then that's the Greg Ward touchdown, which I think was a crisscross mismatch. Hayden, I think, was the one that was in coverage there. So 2-point conversion, this is what makes everyone a little nervous here if you're betting on the game. And then you get to the Steelers. They get the ball here, and they're mixing up Connor, they're mixing up Benny Snell, and then you have the deep pass that's intended for, Chase Claypool, and he didn't get his feet completely in bounds. Vilma had thought so during the commentary.
The hand went down out of bounds. I watched that 3 or 4 times. The foot comes down, the hand goes out of bounds. The other foot, I think, was good, but the hand came down first.
Yeah, exactly. So beautiful catch. Would have been for 33 yards. That was negated. No play. You get a false start penalty on Eric Ebron, and you move it back even further, and you're like, okay, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're only up 9 right now. Okay, it's only 31-22. What are you guys doing here? I want to point this out, though. This isn't a Randy Fichtner problem. There's a lot of people who are complaining about offensive coordinators. You used to get the fire Todd Haley crowd, right? Chase Claypool makes this play. Everyone's praising him. Let's give this guy an extension. Let's give this offensive coordinator more money. We don't want him to be a head coach somewhere else. So it's up to the players to execute this. Eric Ebron with the false start. That's not on Randy Fichtner. That's on there. I know there's some things that drive you crazy, like run, pass. That's like run, 3rd and long. Okay. That wasn't really one of them. And you can't help when Al Riveron ends up redoing the whole spiel here. So Ben Roethlisberger, he gets a little pass out to Juju Smith-Schuster. They get a little bit of a gainer. They give some breathing room for Dustin Colquitt. He punts it away. And then you enter the 4th quarter where the Eagles still have the ball and they're driving. And I'm trying to see, I thought there was something else here that was pretty miserable as far as calls. Oh, no, that's coming. Never mind. So they drive, another touchdown to Travis Fulgham. And now all of a sudden, you see the Eagles are only down 31-29. It's like, okay, now the Steelers need to do something here. And that something ends up being a substantially long drive that chews up about 5 minutes and ends in an Eric Ebron fumble. Now it's not. Now it's looking even worse, Brian. You get Stephon Tuitt, and I have to say, Cam Hayward during this too had one heck of a sack. Where both of these guys did, where they weren't going to be denied, and it was basically all up to them. And they were both grown-ass men in this, and they got to the quarterback when it was needed there. So that sack was huge. You go to 2nd and 13, 3rd and 5. They don't get it there. Peterson trots out Jake Elliott to kick into what was the open end. I'm like, how far is this?
57 yards.
57. No way. You don't go any more than 50 to even attempt in that end. And as I saw, ball goes sailing the other direction. I just looked at it. And I'm like, I wasn't even sweating that. I knew that was just no way. That's not going to happen. The long is 53, and that's I think Dan Bailey with the Cowboys and Chris Boswell, I believe, hit one that was 53 as well. I believe they were co-holders. It's the only 2 times it's happened. Kicking anything 50 plus in that stadium in that specific direction just doesn't work. It don't matter. Any time of day. You're kicking into the river, it just don't work. I said, well, thank you. Thank you for the field position. Thank you for everything else. So let me see here. So the Steelers respond. You had a face mask call against Brandon Graham. What else is going on? Oh, this was the Eric Ebron, the interception.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't that cute? Where you see the ball hit the turf. I saw it in real time. I'm like, I think that hit the ground. It's an interception? Oh, really? Oh, by the way, I got to give the coach, the professor, Zach Meckler, his due on his tweet. On the previous Eric Ebron fumble, he goes, Jesse didn't catch it, but Eric Ebron did, because it was such a bang-bang play, and they gave the ball up there, and I'm just like, okay, you're kind of wincing. This could go either way. But this other one was definitely not an interception. The referees absolutely stink. And then the Steelers. I missed a play here somewhere. Back on the last drive was the Chase Claypool deal before the Eric Ebron fumble.
Right, that's the one. That was the ridiculous one.
Yeah, the fumble would not have even happened if it wasn't for Chase. All he does is move his arm out and get position. The guy.
I don't know that he even touched him. I don't even think he touched him. At first I thought, he pushed off. So I will give the bozo in charge of that particular yellow flag the benefit of the doubt that he looked maybe like a push off. But then when you look back at it, it wasn't even actually close. So again, I don't know. That was so bad. Are we allowed to challenge those things again anymore? I guess we're not allowed to anymore, right?
Ray Fittipaldo said something about that, and then he goes, never mind.
Yeah, because that was just absurd. It is, and here's the problem I actually have with it. I can see how the guy who threw the flag might have thought that it was an actual flag. But guess what? He's way down the damn field, and he waits till Claypool gets almost to the end zone, and then he goes, hey, there you go. I don't think so, fella. You've had enough of those TDs for today, young man, and throws the flag. Where's the guy that was actually closer to the play that comes up and goes, no, you kind of blew that call. We're going to pick that flag up.
You got to have some courage as a referee as well, as an official. These guys, they have the headsets too that go on. Oh, by the way, I had something for you. I can't really do it with the, you were messing with me with, I have practical effects today. So they have these things on, and I don't know if they could talk in the mic or not, but regardless, you need to do some type of scrum, some type of huddle, or something of that nature. For the people who are listening, I put on my face mask just to troll Brian with all of his Zoom filters that he probably forgot about.
I haven't used one yet.
But
I've been waiting the appropriate time to use one, and so okay, fine.
Yeah, well, I tend to forget now with the video that we saw people who are only getting this on audio, so I don't want them to feel left out. But I put on the mask. Anyways, when you have these headsets on, and they're live. They're all the time, I believe. Some of the guys on the sidelines may have one where you press a button in order to speak into. That way, when the coaches come down the sideline and they're screaming in your ear, it's not picking up on all the other officials' earpieces, okay? And these are like multi-$1,000 sets that these headsets are. And they have like molded earpieces they get fitted for and the whole 9 yards. So it's meant for real-time communication. So you didn't have to have all of these big huddles in the middle of the field, which they did right out the gate. The game started this way, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is going to be great. I don't know if you caught that. It was like the first or second play, and they're already huddled up. and wasting like a minute and a half trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And they did it again at some point, I think, when the second half started too. There should have been a huddle here. There should have been some conversation, because you got to have some courage and say, you didn't see what you thought you saw. And I could see this happening if you're at like high school, if it's high school football, and guys have like some egos and they're all there to cash a check, and some of them aren't even in shape, maybe lower level college or something of that nature. But when you're up to the big leagues and you're doing a Big Ten, ACC, and then you're in the NFL, you should by that point not care if somebody overrides or whatever. You understand, and you've done enough of these games and have enough experience to realize, okay, my bad, I was wrong, and there's nothing wrong with being overridden there. We just want to make sure as an entire crew, as an officiating team, that we get the call right. And they didn't. And this nearly cost the Steelers the game, because not only do they not get the Chase Claypool touchdown there, then they turn the ball over and give it right back to the Eagles in what it was, or is at this point, a 31-29 2-point game. So they're lucky. They try to Jake Elliott out there. He's trying to go for the lead. He misses the 57-yarder. Now we get back to the other Chase Claypool touchdown right after the Eric Ebron interception that wasn't. The Steelers go and run the same play. They recognize Chase Claypool went uncovered on that play. Ben went to Ebron there, right? They ran it again. I give Flash his due. I know he still listens, Zach Celadonia, and he pointed this out. They run the same exact play and then just throw it to Claypool instead, who's wide open. And I said, it's time to take that ball over to the sidelines and shove it up one of the zebras, you know what, where the sun don't, stick it where the sun don't shine, because I would have put it in their face at that point, to be completely honest. I was that PO'd with what was going on and how this young man was robbed, truly. I don't think he probably still only gets 4 touchdowns. A lot of people would be like, oh, he would have got 5. Because I don't think the next set happens. The Eagles' play calling's a lot different, and everything of that nature also happens too. So, but basically your canine friends there.
he hates the refs as much as we do. He hears the words. He hears me say ref, and he starts to bark. He wants to bite them. I've actually trained him to attack all referees.
Ooh, how do you do that? Do you get like a little zebra jersey and you put it in like a little treat, and then like, hey, here, guy, and
no, he just is. He's very sensitive, and so when I get angry at something, he wants to. He would like to make it better, and he would like to make it go away. But he doesn't know how to attack the referees on the TV yet, because he knows they're making me mad. He just hasn't figured out how to get into the TV and bite their little heads off.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out, how can I make my human master happy? Yeah, yes, it's exactly. Like don't chew on furniture, chew on referees.
Yes.
So, the Steelers defense, they lay the smack down here. They show up. I know a lot of people weren't happy necessarily with the defensive effort. We know that they're sluggish and slow after a bye. They're getting some of their stuff collectively together. We know TJ Watt left the field for a small spell. We don't know exactly what's going on with his knee. Deontay Johnson with his back. I heard Marquise Pouncey something with his foot. David DeCastro left the game.
Yep.
Especially when we'll talk real quick about the Cleveland Browns game, so we got to see that, and the Andy Dalton revival, maybe a QB controversy, and Big Dallas there as they barely beat the Giants. But Carson Wentz here gets mauled by Bud Dupree, who nearly gets a strip sack out of this too. He was bringing the hammer. And then you have let me see. This is just basically a 3 and out, because they go for it on 4th and 20. I mean, what else are you going to do? There's 2 minutes 18 seconds left in the game. Right. Steven Nelson gets another one, which was kind of a interception with Cam Sutton. They put all 4 of their hands together like they were doing Kumbaya or something, and making sure that ball was coming to them. It wasn't going to Hightower, who it was intended for. He was overthrown to begin with. So both of those guys. And that's an example of you got Cam Sutton kind of playing deep coverage there, that hybrid almost kind of safety role, as we talked about too, which also happened with Mike Hilton on the one that he got beat. But Carson Wentz turns the ball over 2 times. We're getting to it, Brian. Let me see here. We have the total sacks. Was it 5 or was 5. It? Yes, it was 5. And I got to bring this up. Very exciting news for those of you who may have seen it on social media. If you asked I don't want to say it because it'll throw it on, but the Amazon Echo device, if you asked a certain female name to play the football preview and you had the Steelers set as your favorite team this weekend, you got to see my face as we were the official ambassadors for the Pittsburgh Steelers preview this weekend on Amazon's 2-minute drill. And on that 2-minute drill, as I did here on the Steel City Underground podcast, I called for 5, not the Tom Brady, not the 4, not the Ric Flair 4 horsemen here, 5. Although that's good for Mapletron too. Did you see his on Twitter?
That is a classic tweet.
He superimposed, or somebody did, put his face on Tom Brady holding up the 4 fingers at the end of the game from Thursday. So 5 sacks, 2 turnovers, nailed it. Steelers offense, we said over 30, maybe close to 40. We said 40 might have been biting off more than we could chew. We said they're going to maybe get close. We wanted a defensive score. It's the only thing we didn't get. But, hey, everything else looks pretty good here. James Conner, I don't think he didn't get to 100 all-purpose yards. That's something I wanted. I may have called for somewhere else. But it was mainly on the defense. We were talking the 5 sacks, the 2 turnovers is what we settled on. We're doing pretty good here, man. And you know what? We're going to pat our back. We'll never mention it when we're wrong, by the way. Never. So, but when we're right, we're going to brag. Final score, 38-29. Steelers win, go to 4-0. Maybe not pretty, but it sure beats the 0-3 crap and everything else that was going on last year. And losing close games like they did with the Seahawks, the Baltimore Ravens, et al. They're going to host the Cleveland Browns team now that went out and beat the Colts 32-23. Phillip Rivers turned into a pumpkin, as he is accustomed to doing. We've seen this with Phillip Rivers many years. That's why he's no longer with the Chargers. Pick 6, things of that nature. Myles Garrett, he's up there for Defensive Player of the Year right now, just as TJ was. So we got to hope that, the Steelers are full force. Although the Browns, their offensive line is kind of in shambles right now, too. They switched over Chris Hubbard. They lost, was it Treader? That's their center. He got hurt, too. So they got a couple of things going on there, and we'll have to see how that plays out through the week. But, Baker Mayfield in this game that I got to see, you put pressure on him, and we'll talk about this more in the pregame coming up later in the week. You put pressure on him. I think as long as the Steelers continue to put pressure, you're going to see something that's very similar to this game, where it could be a little more higher scoring than what you may be used to. You're going to see both quarterbacks get hit. You're going to end everything else. And, of course, they don't have Nick Chubb, who's hurt, so the running game there suffered, at least against the Colts. And the Colts are without Darius Leonard, too, and they had some other injuries, on both sides of the ball. As they're dealing with, some teams are dealing with guys who opted out, things of that nature. So we're going to be looking forward to that, because the Browns right now, where are they now? 4-1, because they haven't had the bye yet. So it's interesting. And the Steelers are atop the AFC North, right? Because they are perfect.
Undefeated. They have
right
no
now.
losses.
They don't have any losses. So, and then you look, the Kansas City Chiefs also lost to the Las Vegas Raiders today, too. So in the AFC kind of pecking order here, we'll see if there's a game with the Titans and Bills. The Bills are undefeated as well. But it's basically the Bills and the Steelers right now atop the conference, who I don't think anybody would have expected that 5 weeks into the season.
Some of us might have.
Well, yeah. Present company excluded.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just want to point this out for everybody who's all hyped about the Browns. Baker Mayfield's quarterback rating today, 72.7.
No, they weren't sharp at all.
It's just, take a Brownie fans. Yes, I know you're very happy. You have more wins than losses for the first time in 100,000 years. But take a chill pill, all right? Just wait a little while, all right?
Yeah, a little excitable there. I mean, the game's going to be at Heinz Field again. Heinz Field with fans. They haven't. I don't know that they announced 55 for this one as well, or if that was just for the Eagles deal.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but there will be fans. And hooker by crook, I'm going to try and get there because I got to see. I might have to see this one in person.
And I may miss that game altogether.
Yeah. So
some personal stuff going on that may take precedence. But I need to throw these two things out there because, damn it, they just deserve them. Obviously, Chase Claypool, you, young gun that you are, you, sir, are a grown-ass man. And you get a big-time grown-ass man award for that kind of a performance. definitely a grown-ass man. And I just want to say it because I want to say it. I want to say it every game, and I don't always get to. Cam Hayward, you are a grown-ass man. You got a sack, so I'm happy.
Yeah, Cam Hayward, definitely. And that was a grown-ass man sack, as was Stephon Tuitt's. And I'll call Ray Ray McLeod, big play Ray Ray. I'm sure he's heard that since he was like in Pee Wee football, so nothing probably newer.
You know what? There. I'm going to give Zach Adonia a grown-ass child man award because he said before the game happened, I think Ray Ray is going to make a play and have a day. And so I got to give him
says that about every wide receiver.
I know, but he didn't say it about Chase this week.
No, actually, he didn't.
But he did say it about Ray Ray. So Ray Ray did have a day and make some play. And, so Zach Adonia, you get a grown-ass child man award because I can't give you a grown-ass man award because you're a child.
Hey, I'm going to throw in your obligatory absolutely right there.
There you
so,
go.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Steel City Underground. And look for some big things. I got to keep the lid on the rest of the things, whatever else is going on with Amazon right now. But a very cool opportunity. Thank you to all the folks there as well as the folks here who've made that possible, including yours truly right here, included myself and Brian. And Brian, thanks for joining me once again today. I think everyone had some very positive feedback on the video. I noticed mine might have flickered out once or twice here, but it's still a work in progress. But we'll try and keep doing this as much as we can. Maybe you only get my ugly mug every once in a while when I got to bring on the professor or somebody like that. But I don't know. He's in some flop house or whatever, transitioning to the coaching job. So who knows? He may not have the best digs to show people. There's like a wall with half of the plaster missing or something like that.
As long as he's not in his underwear, it's all good.
Oh, man.
I am in my underwear.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to stand up now. No, I'm not.
Please don't. Because we saw the Steelers underwear as part of your ensemble.
It is. But it so totally is.
No, I'm head to toe. I got the Steelers socks on, the Steelers shorts too. I'm not going to show everybody that. There's no need to see that. This is a PG rated show, or we at least like to try and keep it in that direction. So we think.
All I'm saying, four games. This is the only jersey I've worn this year.
Have you washed it?
No, and I will not.
Well, I mean, it's at least good you got rid of the dirty hat for the Carhartt one here, and
the dirty hat did make it. The dirty hat made it to the top of Mount Washington.
That tan brown looks good.
This hat is awesome. I give him major props. This, as I said to you, this may become my new favorite hat. Eventually, becoming and replacing the current dirty old hiking hat with this as my dirty old hiking hat. Once I start to sweat it up and it gets disgusting.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not just like shilling their stuff here. I mean, that's very high quality stuff. I feel like you can't even rip or tear the other one, the mesh one that I had on. So, and when it gets colder weather, we'll see the beanies. And if you want to see that, Tina Rivers, managing editor here, she posted something with I don't know what it was, a combine or something, whatever they have in Iowa with the corn. But anyways, we're up against it, Brian. I don't want to keep everyone, including yourself and myself. So thanks for joining me once again today.
Always a pleasure, my friend, especially after a nice Steelers victory. I look forward to Victory Monday, and hopefully this week will bring us to another one at the end of it.
Yes, absolutely. And his name is Brian. My name is Joe. Thank you, all of our supporters and listeners out there. We keep getting to do bigger and better things, and it's all because of you. And also, I haven't mentioned this before, but if you would like to buy us a beverage, I didn't necessarily say a beer because some of us are straight edge. Some of us don't drink alcohol. Myself, I would rather have a beer. I'm not into wine. You could do so if you go to steelcityunderground.com. Scroll down to the bottom. We have a little PayPal donation thing, and we'll start including that there because we're not running the middle ads here on YouTube or anything like that. We just have it at the beginning, at the end. We don't want to annoy you or cut anything, and we do this for fun, but we would also enjoy a little bit of the monetary support every now and then. So if you'd like to get us a drink or two, you could always head on over there and click on the PayPal donation button at the bottom of our website at steelcityunderground.com. Yeah, and somehow he has to support his habit. So, and if you haven't seen Brian's collection in Man Cave here, please do log on to YouTube sometime and just check it out. It is something to behold, including the bobblehead over his shoulder. So until next time, my name's Joe. That's Brian and Mini Brian there, as you hear the head bobbling around.
This is my Missy Matthews revenge bobblehead.
Oh, that's
she won't
nice.
give me her bobblehead. It's annoying.
Yeah, you need it for the collection. So, but anyways, folks, as always, we encourage all of you out there. Until next time, to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.